Okay, now let's get into it, Blair. Now, the thing is, before the cast was even announced, suddenly you found yourself splashed across TMZ. Not only spilling the tea that you were secretly must have been holding on to, but, you know, dealing with a DUI. Tell me about how that happened. How the hell did TMZ know what was going on?
Girl, I have no idea how TMZ knew. That was, you know what? I have to look back at that. And so many people have asked me about this. So I'm more than happy to talk about this.
Because what was the timeline? Like, did that happen before you went away to Drag Race?
Yeah, way before I was cast.
Wow.
And I have to look back now, and I have to word this carefully because I'm actually really grateful that those moments in my life happened exactly the way they happened to teach me the lessons that I needed in life to be the person that I am today. So when you look back at it, I don't regret any consequences that I had, but I regret the mistakes I made. Right. Does that make sense? You know, I regret, you know, making poor decisions, but I don't regret the consequences I got from those poor decisions because they really have shaped me as a human. They've said, you know, like, hey, we're gonna get life in order a little bit. We're gonna get life in check, get some things together, and we're gonna get on the fast track to life. Yeah, because I mean, right when you're, because it happened before you went away to Drag Race.
Yes, but you knew you were going to be on.
Yes, I did.
So I can only imagine that that would be your worst fear, to suddenly get on Drag Race and God forbid something happened that wouldn't let you go. Did that sober you up real quick?
I think that I chose to sober up real quick.
Well, obviously, you can't just magically do it.
You can't magically do it. You can't have anyone tell you to do that either. And I think that was more of, not even a wake-up call, but I think that was just like a ringing into my own life of saying, you know, hey, there are opportunities like this coming up in your life. There could be more. Right. But there can be so many obstacles. And it was that small obstacle in my life that really showed me that.
Yeah, and it seems like that, you know, to look at the positive side of it, you know, you could have continued, and I don't want to speak for how much you were drinking or not. People have DUIs who maybe had just a couple cocktails, but, you know, you could have been someone who continued to drink through your first few year on Drag Race and deal with suddenly being in clubs and having to go to parties where everything's given to you. Do you think about that? And is that something that you're happy you did it then?
Yeah, I actually made the conscious decision after we filmed Drag Race, we came home, the reports of me having a DUI came out, and that's kind of how it came to fruition, that people thought that I may have been missing. You know, there was just more talk about me and my name. So people dug up more stuff, and they found that I did have a DUI. And that was really the time that I was like, you know what? I was like, if this is coming up now, I was like, who knows what could happen in the future? And that's when I made the conscious decision that I said, you know what, enough's enough. I don't want any more problems. And who knows if that was one mistake, who knows if that's gonna be another. But I know if I can control it, that's gonna be cutting out drinking altogether, and that will be no more mistakes.
Now, when it came out on TMZ, that must have been kind of crazy that suddenly you didn't even get to give the big news. You had to stay quiet. You come home, your friends are kind of blogging it or writing about it because it's kind of exciting that you're on Drag Race and it's coming out. That must have been a lot of different emotions to deal with. And your first touch of the spotlight being a hard spotlight sometimes.
Well, let me put this in perspective for you. Imagine getting cast in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be on television, to do something that you're so passionate about, you love so much, and then you get eliminated middle of the way through. Your dreams are crushed. You're still in this emotional and physically exhausting state, thinking like, I wasn't good enough. This isn't happening. What did I do wrong? You know, really self-examining and doing so much, you know, processing of all this. And also in the same time frame, realizing that your mugshot and everything about you is going all over the internet, and that is the first taste that anyone has of you. They are gonna make up your character for you. They're gonna tell you exactly who you are by just reading about you. And you don't even get to show the world who you are. You don't even get to announce that you're really on Drag Race.
So scary.
It was terrifying, to say the least.
So how did you deal with it?
I just kept pushing through. And that was the time where I really learned not to read comments. And of course we all do at some point in time, but that time I couldn't. I turned everything off. And I just took that time to do some self-reflection and to just really stay close with the people that I knew loved and cared about me, because those are the people I needed the most.
Well, the good thing is when by the time the season started, people got a load of your look and you, and it seemed to disappear.
Yeah.
Did you feel like it disappeared? Because me as the viewer, I never even thought about it again by the time the show was on.
Right.
Did you feel like that still lingered and you still had to fight around that perception?
I don't think I've ever fought it. No, I've been very honest from the beginning, and I've been very open and very sincere with just answering any questions people have had, because I think it's also something that is important to talk about. We talk about so many issues in life. I think alcoholism is very important to talk about. I also think that legal repercussions from consequences, that have happened from alcohol abuse is important. So I think that at the time that Drag Race came on TV, I think it was a little quieter. Everything passes.
Yeah.
And I think it was probably both good for me too, as a learning experience, that I have something else to look forward to.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was my judging and deciding moment of my life. Who am I to judge because I've made mistakes, and who is anyone else to judge me?
Sure.
Because I'm sure everyone in this world has made some sort of mistake. So I was really happy that people kind of got to see and understand, a truth of mine, but also they allowed me to come into their home and into their hearts and get to know the real me.
So let's take it back to your first day in the workroom. So you're finally in Hollywood.
Oh my
gosh. You're on a set.
Oh my gosh.
You've been sequestered away.
Yes.
So take me to that moment right before you walk into the workroom for the first time.
So that was probably the most stressful.
Oh my gosh.
I remember.
And what was that energy like? You haven't been doing drag that long.
No, I really haven't.
And then you're in the Thunderdome,
I also
sweetie.
lied about how long I was doing drag.
Ooh, bitch.
Yes.
Really?
So I told everyone, I was like, I've been doing drag for like 3 years. RuPaul even said, how long have you been doing drag? I was like 3 years. The like was very, very much underlined in that sentence. And I'd only been doing drag for like 1.5 years to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely was out of my league at that point.
And RuPaul everyone was shocked at how young you looked, especially out of drag, right?
Yeah, especially I'm shocked sometimes when I look in the mirror. I'm like, well, time's ticking. Am I gonna catch up or not?
You were giving old Hollywood glamour in those runways.
Yeah.
Tell me about prepping for Drag Race.
Prepping for Drag Race was me like prepping for a pageant. They sent us a list of looks that could be used, some that could be used for a challenge, some that could be used for runways. And at this point in time, I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of told how drag is supposed to be from the culture and community that I live in. So that's the drag I'm gonna showcase. That's the drag I'm gonna show. And that is, done up to the nines, like big lashes and big hips and fully smoked out makeup. And that has changed a lot.
Now, you didn't make it to Snatch Game, but if you had, who would have you gotten to play? Who would have you wanted to play?
I didn't. I have a lot of different Snatch Game ideas as a theater person.
Right.
But I think at that point in time, I really wanted to do Leah Michele as Rachel Berry from Glee. So you can't do characters. You have to do the celebrity that they play. So I really wanted to do someone that, was very much like me. And I think she at that point in time in my life was very much close to me.
You're giving me that
I really
Rachel
wanted to be
Berry
like,
action, right?
I definitely want, that was who I was gonna be.
Lady Red, who would have you been for Snatch Game if you ever get on the race?
If I was on Snatch Game, I would do Star Jones, Whitney Houston, pregnant Mariah Carey.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. All of that.
I'm into it, girl.
Watch
okay.
out.
I'm looking out for your tape.
Well, let's talk about when you were eliminated, because not only were you eliminated from Drag Race, but you took that last moment on the stage to really reveal something incredibly painful, incredibly personal. Take me through the decision to speak out and to, how that felt.
Well, I'm glad you're asking, because I have done a lot of interviews. A lot of people have asked me about that moment. And I usually give a lot of the same answers because, that was the time that happened, I really, really remember it. But as more time has gone on, no one's really asked about why that moment happened. No one, and so I'm kind of glad you asked that. So at that point in time, I never knew it was gonna be one of my last moments. For all I thought, it was just a moment in life, a moment in history, a moment that was just to be. And RuPaul was asking me, he was asking about it was Ross Matthews. Ross was asking me about my physicality and why I presented such frilliness and such daintiness and such sweetness. And I was like, well, there's more to show. And he's like, but why? And they just kept prodding me with questions and answers until that point where I finally just really broke. And I was like, you know why? Well, I'll tell you why. And I just kind of exploded.
Right.
And it just kind of came out. And I had never really talked about it. I had never really gone through my own motions about it and my own like acceptance within myself to talk about sexual assault and abuse in my history and how painful that was. But I also didn't know then, and now looking back at how much I needed that moment in my life.
Yeah.
I really, really did. And if you heard my single that I released after that episode aired on TV, Now or Never, there's a lyric in there that says, I'm free to fly, because it's now or never. Mm-hmm. And free to fly is so crucial to my life, because now I really do feel free. And I really do feel like I can fly in my life, because I've accepted events in my life that have happened to me. I've revealed them to the world. I've talked about them, and I've decided to take action on my own. I've decided to be a survivor. Yeah. And I decided to no longer let that cage me and let that really hurt me. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna fly. And I'm gonna keep moving on in life. And I'm gonna be better. And that's really what's made me feel so passionate about what I do. And it's lit a fire in my ass.
Yeah.
Because it said, like, what's next for Blair St. Clair? And this isn't gonna define me. What is gonna define me? And it's really set me far.
When you got home, obviously you had left early from Drag Race, earlier than you wanted. But then when it aired, and then when this moment aired, there must have been so much response. Yeah, I mean positive response from people who were probably touched by what you said. What was the experience of seeing it play out on TV again for you, and what was the reaction?
Well, first and foremost, I never knew that there was going to be that much of a response.
Right.
At all. To this day, I still have so many people that I meet in meet and greets that share their story or say thank you. Thank you for opening up and sharing your story, because it made me feel like it was okay for me to share mine. And every time that happens to me, I do feel like a little connection with that person, a special connection. Because I'm like, you know, we have something in our lives that connect us, and we have something in our lives that's gonna make us stronger in life, because we're gonna get through this. And if we got through this, we can get through anything.
Right.
So those people are so special to me, so special. But at that time when it aired on TV, I don't think I was ready to watch it. I definitely don't think I was ready to sit back and actually take in watching myself go through the emotion. It's one thing to experience it, to talk back on it.
Yeah.
It's another thing to watch yourself in the moment that you actually had that revelation or have that moment, and that was hauntingly beautiful. Like, now I say that. At that point in time, it was haunting.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. And I really wept over it and cried, because I really mourned for that time in my life, and I really mourned for that person on the stage. Because at that time when it was filmed, there was many months that progressed until I actually saw it on film,
Right,
saw it. And there was a little bit more of a blossoming of a new person there. So it was kind of beautiful in the sense that I got to see the person that was broken on stage and feel the person that was growing inside.
Right.
In person.
And then were you ready for having to talk about it in 900 interviews?
No.
Because like that is like there's a whole nother aspect. Suddenly you become someone who has to be able to speak clearly, not only about your own experience, but about something that's happened to other people. How did you handle that?
Wow, that's a great question, because I didn't know how to handle that at all. And I was just like, you know what? People need someone to be real. They need someone to relate to. I think everyone wants that. Everyone needs that right now. I think there are so many people in both LGBTQ society and culture and mainstream culture that just kind of portray their life as perfect. And it's not.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you the really nice insider there, and I'll tell you the secret that life isn't perfect, and people just want to show themselves to what they want people to see. So I just really focused on being real. And when people wanted to talk about it, when people wanted to ask about it, I was like, you know what, now is the time that I answer truthfully, that I answer honestly, because I needed this, and I didn't have that. I didn't get to watch this. And sure, maybe someone else related, but they didn't speak up, or they didn't have a time or a platform that I saw a use for me in it. So I was like, you know, every time I'm gonna take opportunity, and I'm just going to sit there and just spill my truth, spill my heart and my reality, because I think some people just need someone to relate to.
And did you find that freeing? Like after holding it inside for so long, suddenly you were like, you could just be like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna say everything.
Yeah, I think I shock people sometimes now.
Yeah.
I really do, because I have become so free from it that now I'm almost to the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm like, okay, Now that we've freed this, I was like, she wants to experience a little sexual tension.
Oh.
She wants to let that loose, and she wants to show it to the world, and
All
she wants
right.
to let people know that she can be a sexual deviant if she wants to.
Well, that's
because now
good.
it's safe. It's
Yeah.
safe. I've learned safety. I've learned so much health behind sexuality and intimacy and passion. Those things we forget about when we talk about sex.
Yeah.
And those things are the things that I've really harnessed in life, and I really found the beauty in those things. So those things I'm excited about. I'm really excited about those
That's
things.
a lot of power,
Yeah.
especially since that was sexuality was something after your assault you really were afraid of, especially within the gay community. And so to be able to like grab the hold of your own feelings like that seems like it's inspirational for our album, sweetie.
I feel like a powerful woman today.
Yeah.
I feel like a sexually awakened, powerful goddess. And now I just really am like, okay, how can we show this? How can we get this out to the world? How can we start relating that like I've been feeling and letting people know that this is okay to feel. And when you feel it, celebrate it. And let everyone know about it too.
That is good.
Yeah.
Hello, children. To see part 3 of this interview, click here. To see more Hey Qween fabulousness, click here. And don't forget to subscribe, bitch! Hey! Hey! Hey!